Your employer is offering you free money right now. Not a discount, not a coupon. Free money, deposited directly into a retirement account in your name. And depending on how you handle your 401k, you are either collecting every dollar of it or you are leaving thousands on the table every single year without knowing it. The 401k is the most powerful wealth-building tool available to the average American worker. It is also one of the most misunderstood, and when it is handled wrong, it quietly costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time you need it most. 4 rules separate the people who retire wealthy from the people who retire broke, and most people are violating at least 2 of them right now. Let's start with the numbers that most Americans don't know about their own retirement. The average American expects to need $1,800,000 to retire comfortably. That is from a 2026 Charles Schwab survey of current workers. Now look at what people actually have. The median 401k balance, meaning the middle worker, not the average distorted by high earners, for Americans ages 55 to 64 is $84,700. People who are 10 years from retirement, with a median of $84,000 saved, against a target of $1,800,000. That is a gap of $1,700,000. And it is not happening because people don't have access to a 401k. It is happening because they are making 4 specific mistakes with the account they already have. Rule 1. Always capture 100% of your employer match before doing anything else with your money. This is non-negotiable. It is the single highest guaranteed return available in personal finance, and 1/3 of eligible American workers are not getting it. Here is how the match typically works. The most common employer formula in 2026 is a dollar-for-dollar match on the first 3% of your salary you contribute, plus 50 cents per dollar on the next 2%. That means if you contribute 5% of your salary, your employer adds another 4% on top. On a $60,000 salary, that is $3,600 per year in free money from your employer, just for contributing 5% of your own paycheck. Now do the math on what happens if you don't. Missing a $2,000 employer match in a single year, invested and compounding at the S&P 500 historical average, costs you over $20,000 by the time you retire. Do that for 10 years, and the cost of not capturing your match exceeds $200,000 in lost retirement wealth. That is not interest. That is not investment gains. That is money your employer was ready to hand you that you walked away from. Rule 1 is simple. Contribute at minimum whatever percentage is required to capture your full employer match. Do this before you pay down extra debt, before you invest anywhere else, before anything. It is the only guaranteed 100% instant return in personal finance. Rule 2. Check your fund fees, because they are eating your retirement alive. Most people pick their 401k investments once during enrollment and never look at them again. And that is exactly what fund companies are counting on. Inside your 401k, every fund charges an annual fee, called an expense ratio. It sounds small. 0.5%, 1%, 1.5%. But here is what those numbers actually mean over time. 2 employees. Both invest $300 per month into their 401k for 30 years. Both earn the same returns before fees. Employee A is in a low-cost index fund with an expense ratio of 0.05%, the kind offered by Vanguard or Fidelity index funds. Employee B is in an actively managed fund with an expense ratio of 1%, common in many default 401k options. After 30 years, Employee A has approximately $647,000. Employee B has approximately $560,000. The difference, $87,000. Gone. Not to the market. To fees. And the number gets worse at 1.5% expense ratios. The gap in final balance exceeds $130,000. The rule: every fund in your 401k should have an expense ratio below 0.5%. Index funds, tracking the S&P 500 or total market, typically charge between 0.03 and 0.2%. Those are the funds you want. Log into your 401k account today, pull up the fund details, and look at the expense ratio for every fund you own. If anything is above 0.5%, move it. Rule 3. Never cash out your 401k when you change jobs. This is where retirement wealth quietly gets destroyed, and it happens at massive scale. According to Vanguard data, 1/3 of workers with a 401k who leave a job withdraw their balance as a lump sum instead of rolling it over. Among hourly workers specifically, that number jumps to 42%. Here is what a cash out actually costs you. You withdraw $20,000 from your 401k at age 35. First, the IRS takes a 10% early withdrawal penalty. That is $2,000. Gone before you touch the money. Then the withdrawal is added to your regular income and taxed at your marginal rate. For most Americans, that means another 20 to 22%, another $4,000 to $4,400 gone. You started with $20,000. After penalties and taxes, you walk away with roughly $13,500. But the real damage is not the penalty. It is the compound growth you just erased. That $20,000, left untouched from age 35 to 65 at the historical S&P 500 average, would have grown to approximately $344,000. You paid the government $6,500 for the privilege of destroying $344,000 in future wealth. When you leave a job, roll your 401k directly into your new employer's plan or into an IRA. The rollover is tax-free, penalty-free, and takes less than 30 minutes. There is no reason to ever cash it out early. Rule 4. Maximize your contribution. And use the 2026 limits that most people don't know exist. The IRS raised the 401k contribution limit to $24,500 for 2026. Most people don't get close to that number. The average American worker contributes around 7% of their salary, which on a $60,000 income is only $4,200 per year. That leaves more than $20,000 in contribution space unused every year. You don't need to max out immediately, but you need a plan to increase your contribution every single year. The rule that works: every time you get a raise, increase your 401k contribution by half the raise percentage. Your take-home pay still goes up. Your retirement savings accelerate. And because the increase happens before you experience the extra cash in your paycheck, you never feel the impact. If you are 50 or older, the IRS gives you an additional catch-up contribution of $8,000 per year, bringing your total possible contribution to $32,500 in 2026. And if you are between 60 and 63 years old, a new provision effective in 2026 allows a higher catch-up contribution of $11,250, making your total possible annual contribution $35,750. These limits exist specifically to help people who started late build wealth faster. If you are in that age range and not aware of them, you are leaving the most powerful catch-up tool in the tax code completely unused. Let's see what following all 4 rules actually produces. Worker at age 25. Salary $60,000. Contributes 5%, $3,000 per year, capturing the full employer match of $3,600 annually. Chooses low-cost index funds at 0.05% expense ratio. Increases contribution by 1% each time they receive a raise. Never cashes out when changing jobs. At age 65, that worker's 401k balance, using the S&P 500 historical average return, exceeds $1,400,000. Now consider a second worker, Same age, same salary, contributes 3% and misses part of the employer match, stays in high-fee funds at 1%, cashes out once at age 35 when changing jobs. At age 65, approximately $380,000. Same income, same starting point. $1 million difference. 4 rules. The median American approaching retirement has $84,000 saved against a target of $1.8 million. That gap is not the result of low income. It is the result of 4 specific, correctable mistakes made over decades, often unknowingly. Every person watching this video has the ability to correct every single one of those mistakes starting today. Log into your 401k account. Confirm you are contributing enough to capture your full employer match. Pull up your fund expense ratios and move anything above 0.5% into a low-cost index fund. Set a reminder to increase your contribution by 1% at your next raise. And if you ever change jobs, roll the account over. Never cash it out. 4 moves, 1 account. The difference between retiring on your terms and running out of money before you run out of life. If you found something in this video you didn't know about your own 401k, share it. Most people in your life are making the same mistakes and don't know it. Subscribe to Apex Wealth and we'll be back next week with another strategy built entirely on verified data.